Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is now the new big sexy word. When I was growing up, entrepreneurship was not something you could do. You either had to have a long industrious career and then open a business. Maybe you partner with someone that was already in business, or you took over the family business after working there for years. But so now I'm extremely happy that anyone can stop what they're doing, go to school and just start a business. But there are a few things you need to know about some of the entrepreneurs around you so you can see how we consider them to be fake entrepreneurs. Let's get it. All right, let's start with the expert entrepreneur. They know it all. You can't tell them anything. They have a degree, they've read some business book, they have the divine genius mentality and brain processing ability, which makes it inconceivable that they can be wrong. We have all ran into these people where 10 minutes in the conversation, you can tell that they're just regurgitating something that they saw on YouTube, because if they've lived that story, they would structure it in a different way. Maybe they have made some good moves in life that given them the ego to believe that they're right. And in fact, maybe they might be. But because they quickly reject the opinions of others, the ability for them to grow in their networking will be hampered, which will often cause inherent limit to the growth of their company. You can't build large things without people. The quick rise entrepreneur, someone that brags about their first sale and treats it like a customer acquisition, is the end of the product. It's the first step, instead of figuring out the way to follow through and provide value to the customer. I also see this in many blue-collar industry jobs, electricians, plumbers, maintenance guys. They're really good at the service they provide once they're in front of you. But the minute they get overbooked, frustrated, or overwhelmed with that problem, the attitude towards the problem spills into the feelings for the frustration of the customer, which causes a bad customer experience and lack of repeat business or referrals. Low reputation entrepreneurs is someone that has a good passion for selling, but is so concerned about the numbers of the next sale that they totally neglect the needs of the first person they just closed. Remember, business is about reputation. Your reputation is everything in business. So especially in a small community, small country, or small industry size, your portfolio of customers and what they say about you when you're not around can turn people into referral machines, or it can sink your business brand, all with bad reputation. The midnight entrepreneurs. They are extremely fun, unlimited money on woman and rum. No issues, flights, parties, trips. They will say Sinclair, or they will say Steady. The Steady is my nickname. Where is he? He's still in the office. What's he gonna do? He's missing out on all the fun. Now, I'm not the person against partying. Most of you watching this have not partied more than me, trust me. From Amsterdam to Thailand, I've had ultra experiences, but never at the expense of my business. I'll give you a little story. When I was first coming up in business, we had this bar that we used to be at called Le Petit. It was owned by Clive Barronville, rest his soul. And we used to go there almost 3 times a week. And we used to party until maybe 11, 1. We used to conduct business, do different things, but we would always go there. And every day, like clockwork, they would see me leave around 8:39. And sometimes I would come back, sometimes I wouldn't. And they would ask me, well, where are you going all this time? Like every time you always leave at the same time, because I have an alarm on my phone and it goes off and they know, oh, it's time for him to leave. One day, a few of them came with me and they were made to understand that we have a supermarket. This is part of the business process. And every day the supermarket opens at 7. Every midday we change over the staff and the money. And every night I go to close. This was before we had technology with doors and different security measures, right? Like someone had to go with the actual key to lock the door. So every day at 7, so you say, if we drink until 2, you're gonna wake up at 7 to open? And I'm like, no. They're like, oh. I said, no, I'm gonna wake up at 6 to get there at 7 to open. They're like, no way. I'm like, if you wanna get where you wanna be, you gotta do things that seem hard or what you don't wanna do. You have to make up your mind what's necessary, not what's easy. And one of the most fatal flaws that we see with some of the midnight entrepreneurs, they're out partying with 2 or 3 or 4 other CEOs, not realizing that each one of those CEOs has a plan as to why they're doing it. They have a client in town that they're showing around, or they go with you to a specific bar because they want to bump into a specific lead because they frequent that area. For example, we provide restaurant food package and bar equipment. So I party sometimes and go out and I go to where my customers are. I support them because they support me. I sit and I have conversations with some of the owners about the industry and what they're going through, and this helps me to provide them a better service. And even if they don't buy anything or they're not a customer, just a face being around that says, hey, I'm a vendor and I patronize your place, it makes it easier for them to do business with you. But if you work in dentistry and you're out 4 or 5 nights a week partying until 2 a.m. when you need stable hands to do a procedure in the morning, that's not instilling confidence in any of your clients. Can you imagine seeing the doctor that's supposed to do your wife's C-section tomorrow out on a bender tonight? Bro, that's a L. You got to cancel that delivery. The yes entrepreneur. This person always wants a business. They can't turn down anything. I know you've heard the saying, take the job, say yes, and figure it out after. That's the wrong thing to do in business. This does not work in the entrepreneurial field. This normally applies to a big bloated corporation where you can probably learn on the job for a year without a microscope on you. But when you're an entrepreneur providing a specific service, the customer approaches you to fix a problem. They're expecting a solution. They expect you to be the authority on those solutions because it's your industry. For example, how many people have been gypped by a mechanic or a tricanic, as we call them in the Caribbean? You've come to them with a request on how to fix a particular problem. They do an assessment, they give you a quote, they take a deposit. Soon after you try to follow up with them, they become upset because you followed up on the time that they gave you to follow up in. In the end, you get a call with an invoice with extra parts or extra time or whatever, and the mechanic is now arguing with you that the problem was more difficult than they perceived. They had to bring in a specialist. These are prime examples of a business over-promising and under-delivering. The customer at this point is not satisfied with the time or expertise shown in the situation, and they will be happy to share that bad experience with friends and family. So in business, try to provide value and be upfront. Let the customer know this is not my specialty, but I've dealt with these things before. But if you're not comfortable, I can refer you to a specialist. If they still want to stay with you and the problem gets too much, with their approval, let them know, hey, I need to bring in a specialist, or I can send you to that specialist. But right now it's a bit too much for me, and this is how much it's gonna cost if we go that route. So even if the problem is not solved or if it's more expensive, they will respect you for your honesty and trust you with business in the future. The deadbeat entrepreneur, you know those. Just like the deadbeat mom or dad that's never around, these entrepreneurs are never around their staff or their operations. When they first got the business, it was all fun and exciting. Over time, they were coming early and they were leaving late. Now, instead of 9, they come at 9:30, they come at 10, they come at 11. Remember, this is relative to your industry and workload. For example, with my business expansion, I now come to the office at 10 a.m., but I already let my staff know that I'm physically at the office at this time. But my virtual staff, Asian staff, anyone that we need meetings with in different time zones know that they have access to me from 3 a.m. to about 3 p.m. But most importantly, I've communicated with my office staff, and now they know they can message and call me without being afraid. A deadbeat entrepreneur is bad at communication, terrible at comprehension, and comes to work late, misses meeting because they can, and leaves early. Now it's your business and you can do what's right for you. But as we see it here, you're a fake entrepreneur. You lack the work ethic and soon will lose all of your staff. When you have meetings set and you don't show up without warning, the team eventually loses interest in whatever task you wanted them to do. Especially if after the meeting you corral them again in the conference room to give you a summary of the meeting you just missed. And then you change all the decisions they made in that meeting. So just like deadbeat moms and dads have a detrimental effect on that child's confidence and self-esteem, deadbeat entrepreneurs have a 10x of this effect on their team and their productivity. The 1-year millionaire entrepreneur. Oh, this is a perfect one. There's always someone in the room that think they can manifest this money in 1 year. From 0 to 600,000, there have been so many gurus. Let me tell you how to make 10K a month. Let me tell you how I made 600,000 with no effort. Bro, it's a lie. Every time I hear that, I think about Miss Cleo back in the day saying, call me now for your free future reading. Business takes time, business takes patience, and business takes experience. Am I saying it's impossible? No, but the likelihood is statistically insignificant. You might win the lottery, you might get a lawsuit, or you might inherit some money where a rich uncle with the last name Musk died and left you a fortune. But for regular business owners trying to carve their way through this world, you don't normally become a millionaire in a year. And even if for some magical reason you hit that $1 million mark in revenue on your first year, you have to pay all those overhead costs, re-up on inventory or ads or whatever you're doing for whatever you're selling. Most of the businesses that you hear with these type of numbers, they have cash flow, but they don't have profits. You should try to aim for sustainability. You need a model that can get you through a Category 5 hurricane or through a pandemic. Most of these year one millionaires are out of business long before adversity strikes because they're more concerned with hitting a lick or getting a high revenue mark than providing value to their customers to retain and get continual patronization from your customers over time. These people often scar the name of entrepreneurs because to get the capital to earn that magical $1 million a year, that investment is probably from an unsuspecting investor like family or friends or grandma's their old pension checks. They lose it all and set their family back generations just because they wanted to come out or go on Instagram and brag about this magical $1 million mark that you made. The in their feelings entrepreneur. These entrepreneurs are crushed by rejection and they're paralyzed by fear. They think that because they have the best product or the best service that the customer should see it their way. These are the ones with their power suits and their PowerPoint presentations and they're counting the minutes until they get a yes. No, this is not how this works. Yes, put your best foot forward. Yes, be prepared. Yes, expect greatness. Yes, be confident. But you have to understand that sometimes you're just not a good fit. Sometimes you're not as smart as you think you are. And sometimes you get edged out by another competitor. And also, guess what? Sometimes you are the smartest. You are the best fit. You have the right product, but there was an under the table deal already made with an alternate buyer. And you lose. It happens. In business, you have to learn how to play the game and be in the game. Sometimes just being in the room is a win because you can double back later and get more business. So don't pout and give up on your business in your losing season. Continue, build a team, get more leads, and close from different angles. As we say in the Caribbean, monkey know his tree to climb. And it basically means the exchange between people, right? People normally size people up when they see them. What is it? The factors, the look, the speech, the smell, social proof, the confidence. Do they have a little mystery about them? And when people kind of tick these boxes, you get different opportunities based on what they perceive about you. Now remember the time entrepreneurs. They are the ones that always have a story about when they used to be relevant. Boy, you remember the time when I got that meeting with Bank of America? You remember the time when I closed that big real estate deal in 1998 with something, right? We call them the Gangnam Style. You remember that pop song from South Korea? I'll tell you right now, no one cares. I'm not saying it's not factual or impactful, but you can't state it as if it's relevant now. If these stories have set you up for life, I applaud you. But don't speak about it as if the climate is the same or the players are the same now, because you realize very quickly that the game has changed. The serial entrepreneur. Instagram is famous for this. I know we've all heard this term being tossed around as a good thing. You're doing a million things, selling a million different things, and own a million different businesses. You think there's money in their pocket when they're coming to see you and they pull it out as 73 different business cards of different businesses, which they are CEO of all. Man, every time you meet this guy, he's introducing a new business and a new service that he wants you to support. He sees himself as ultimately driven. He prides himself that he has these 5 businesses and he can run all 5. At this time, he's robbing Peter to pay Paul. This means that the profit and cash flow from the supporting business is going to the other business. But he gets to look good on social media because he has 5 different businesses in his bio. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, as a guy documenting my journey with double-digit years in business, it's the worst lie I've ever seen on the internet with gurus telling kids that they have to have 7 different streams of income. You know why I call it a lie? Because they don't provide context. Yes, maybe you can diversify with your disposable income, but after you focused on one thing, get the profits from that thing, invest in another thing that doesn't take your focus from the first thing that you were making money on in the first place. Jesus. I get passionate about this because people want to do step 8 before they do step 4. I fight it daily as well. As an entrepreneur, I have so many ideas. I see so many holes in the market where I'm like, I can do that. But I know if I want to grow my business into a global entity, I can't lose focus on every little shiny thing that I see. Yes, it might be profitable. Yes, they might be good partners. Yes, maybe I should do it. But you need to leave those other streams alone until you can cement the first one. Have a team, get an infrastructure in place so that you can put your focus into other things. But don't jeopardize the first thing for the next thing. These types of entrepreneurs are all around you, and it's easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. If you know one of these entrepreneurs, tag them in the post so they can evaluate their life. If you see yourself in this post, evaluate your life. And most importantly, if you see yourself in these people, but it's working for you, don't let a guy on the internet tell you what to do. I've seen bumbling idiots stumble into $10 million government contracts. It happens to the best of us. I'm just saying, based on consistency and probability, it's not gonna work out for you. We wouldn't recommend it here on CEO Business Insights. If you made it this far, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. My name is Sinclair Fleming. Now, go take action.